All right, so for the next example, instead of just seeing asterisks for all the items that you had in your grid or in all of your cells, I want to see some numbers, okay? So let's say 1, 2, and 3 instead of asterisks, and then just repeating that 1, 2, and 3 in each of these rows, okay? So let's see how we can do that and accomplish that one using for loop, and then we are going to do that with a while loop. So this is the code that we wrote when we were having asterisks. So now let's try see if we can change it. Just take this code, change it to fit what we are looking for. Okay, so from having asterisks, I want to go and replace the asterisk with something else. Okay, so let's see if we can do that. All right, so for now I want to just say, okay, let's just print 1 instead of asterisks. So if I run this, I should see 1 in all of those cells, right? So if this is a table, I'm seeing 1 in all of the cells. Okay, so basically this part is the area that you can display whatever number you're looking for. Okay, all right, so to do that, we can use some of the variables that we already created to take care of that task for us. For instance, I or J, and let's see how we can use them. For I mean, for this example, using I make sense because I simply increments from 0 to 2, 0, 1, and 2, and you can use that variable to print. Okay, so if I want to print I, then instead of 1, 2, and 3, I'm going to see 0, 1, 2 in each of these cells. Okay, and that is going to be repeated 4 times because of this outer loop. All right. So here you go. So this inner loop simply just prints number 0, 1, and 2 because you're having this range function that creates a sequence for you, and then you're printing that item. So if you want to, instead of 0, 1, and 2, if you want to see 1, 2, and 3, you can simply say I plus 1. So you just take that I, add 1 to it, which gives you 1, 2, and 3. Or you can change your range. So instead of starting from 0, you can start from 1 and go all the way to 4. That means you are creating a sequence that has 1, 2, and 3 in it. Okay? So now if I run it, I should get the same thing. All right? So this is if you wanted to see like 1, 2, and 3 in each of the rows. What if you wanted to see 1, 2, 3, 4, and then similar thing 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so if you wanted to see something like that, then think about how you can change this variable to do something like that for you. Okay, which one of these variable here gives you those numbers? All right, so think about it for a couple of minutes, and then unpause the video and see how I'm going to do that. All right, so hopefully you know the solution by now, but I'm going to go through it for those who couldn't figure it out. So simply, if you want to now, instead of having the incrementation in one row, have them in different columns, we need to look for our, instead of like looking for change in our inner loop, because in inner loop, which takes care of printing each of the rows, there is no change. Your each of the rows, you're printing the exact same number. Right? So for your inner row, so you shouldn't use this variable I, because variable I changes. All right, and if you want to print variable I similar to our previous example, you will see the incrementation of that variable. But the rows are going to be constant. The things that changes is from one row to the other. All right, and that is where the outer loop comes handy, the variable that you're using for outer loop. So if I replace this I with j, then for each of the rows, J is going to be the value that you have for that row. So J starts with 0. So you have 0, and you go in and you repeat this inner loop 3 times, and you're printing J. So you're printing 0 3 times, and then in the next iteration your J becomes 1. So you print 1 3 times. All right. So if I run this, I'm going to get zeros, ones, twos, and threes. All right, so it's very similar to what I'm looking for, but instead of starting from 0, I want to start from 1. So you either change your range function or print J plus 1. So for now, I'm going to change the start value for my range, and it goes from 1 to 5 instead of 4 because it doesn't include the stop value. So now if I run it, I will see what I was trying to create. Okay, and you can do the similar thing using a while loop. So go ahead and pause this video, try to implement the exact same thing, creating this table using nested while loops. So similar to nested for, I'm going to start with our previous example where we printed asterisks in all of the cells. All right, so very similar to what we did for nested for. I'm going to, if I wanted to create 1, 2, 3 in each of the rows, I just need to replace this asterisk with I. If I want to see something like this, I need to change my asterisk to J. And then you need to do some adjustment to make sure it starts from 1 or whatever value that you want it to start. Okay? And then if you just make that small change, it's going to work the way that you wanted it. Okay?